So what happens if we reach out to a candidate post placement to check in on them to see how they're going, and they actually have a problem, or they actually reply to us saying that they have a problem? How do we handle that? So let's build a system that's going to handle that. So consider this part two of the post placement setup. So the first one was to actually send out the post placement message to just see how they are doing and everything. And this one is going to handle the replies that come from that message. So of course we are going to start by mapping our system as usual. So we are just going to come down and start the first one. If the and start mapping this. If you have not watched the part one, which is the placement setup, you should actually watch that, because a lot of the things here is going to be connected to that. So the first thing that we are going to do, of course, is bringing out our diagrams here. So the first thing that we want to do is watch for the messages when they come in. So we sent an email, so we are going to be watching for those emails. So once they come in, we need to search to be sure. We want to search our database to see if the email actually exists, which is the email that responds to our message, because that's how we are going to be able to know if that's like a placement response email or if it's like any other email. Because I'm guessing that the email that we are using, we don't just receive placement emails, right? We receive messages from clients or candidates and candidates every now and then. So we only want to target the ones that are from candidates that we have placed. So we want to search their emails to in our database to see if the emails that send us the message tallies with the email in our placement database. So once we have that, we can go ahead and use AI to analyze the message to see, what the person is saying, if the person wants to leave, what's the risk there, if the person is seeing a lot of, problems in the job and is considering moving and all of that. So once we are able to analyze that, depending on what we get, we're going to use a router. So once we're able to analyze that, we are going to be able to pass the system. It's going to put everything in one, like what the person is saying, the risk, everything, to put it in one place. So we are going to need something called the JSON to be able to pass it. And the next thing that we're going to need now that we have passed it is that. So after passing the JSON, the next thing is we are going to um, we have been able to analyze it, we have been able to pass it, so we are going to update our system. We are going to update our system with the messages and the scores. So we update responses. We can have like a database where we create our responses. So we can do responses here. So we can have a responses database where we put in all the feedbacks that our candidates have given to us, because that would also be good data for us to be able to use for our case studies, our success stories, and all of that. So it's good that we have that. So we are going to create or update our in this case, we are going to be creating, because that feedback does not exist before, so we are going to create feedback. We're going to create feedback in the database, so we do feedback. So once we create that feedback now, we are going to have something like a router here. So we do router here, and it's going to depend on the score. We're going to have like maybe like a score or something that way we are going to be able to see if what the person is saying is an emergency. If somebody says things like the job is not that bad, but it's okay. I don't think I really like it that much, but it's not that bad. I will manage. That's not like an emergency situation for us to run to go and talk to them, or run to go and see how we can resolve it. But if someone were to tell us, I hate this job, I hate that you placed me here, I'm looking for other opportunities, I hate it here. Now that's an emergency. We want to get on a call with that candidate as soon as possible to be able to resolve what is happening. So we want to be able to, prioritize, create categories so that we'll be able to prioritize it. Because I mean, I'm considering if the recruiter is handling 100 candidates, we want to be able to give him priorities. We want to give him the ones to hop on a call with immediately, and the ones that he can respond to at his free time and stuff like that. So what we are going to do here is we can do, if the risk here is maybe like say 0 to 39, so this one now is low, so this is not top priority. We can make this one, if risk is say 40 to 79, that this is medium, so this is like, and then we can do this one to be high, so we can do like 80 to 100 here. So this is really high. So this the recruiter has to get on a call with the candidate as soon as possible. And we can send this to 69. Let's do 69 here so that it should just be like an A situation. So let's do 70 here now. 70 here. So what we want to do is if it's 0 to 39, we'll just generate follow-up for the candidate. So we really will not do it like this is not priority for us. So we'll just generate follow-up. And then if it is we'll just send a message to the team. But this one will be like what's called like an orange message or something like, okay, there is a candidate that has a problem, checking with this candidate, when you can. And then this one can be like, oh, a red alert. So we can say red alert here. So we can say Slack, and maybe we can also send email to the recruiter, or maybe we shouldn't do that because everybody is already on Slack, so they can see that, but we will not send a follow-up message, we will not generate a follow-up message to the candidate anymore, because we want the recruiter to go and call the candidate immediately, jump on a call with the candidate as soon as possible. But this one here, we are going to generate a follow-up as well and tell them that candidates will get like the recruiter will get in touch as soon as possible to resolve that. But this particular one here, the recruiter will have to call because this one is an emergency. So yeah, I think we can do this. Yeah, this, of course, a lot of these things can be different depending on how you are typically running your own business. I mean, the goal of automation is not to replace how you are or change the way you're currently working, but it's just to better optimize it. So you have to think of it from the standpoint of how are we currently doing this and how can we do this better, right? So now let's go in and actually build this. But one thing that we are going to, one thing that we are going to build out first before we, get started is the feedback um, system. So let's go to this is the one we created for our placement. So let's create another sheet here for our, feedback. Let's call this candidates feedback. So of course we have our candidates ID, and the next thing that we have is our candidate's name, which is okay. Then we have sentiment here, what they were saying, and we can have like the risk of how bad is what they are complaining about or something. And I think this is okay. I think we can have this. This is okay. But of course, for your own agency, depending on how processes work, you can need more data, or you might need less, depending on how you're currently working. So we are going to now go in to build our system. So we are going to, of course, use make.com to just create a scenario here. So the first thing that we want to do is watch for our emails. So we are going to do emails here. So we are going to do where am I? So we do emails. So we're going to do watch for email. So when any email comes in, so we're going to check. I think I'm using the wrong one. So we are going to be checking our. We're going to be checking our inbox, and then we're going to be checking all our emails. We're going to do all emails, and we're going to save these, and we are going to search our database, of course. So we'll do this, and then we'll search our database. And we are going to be searching for our candidates placement here, and the sheet name is going to be placement, and we are going to be filtering the email to be equal to the sender email address here, and then most times it's going to be equal to 1. So we do this and we do this. So let's say I send an email to the setup. Let's see how that would behave. Okay, so let's say I send this email in here. and I come in here and so, okay, so now that we have this, the next thing that we're going to do is, of course, move to our OpenAI analysis. So we want it to analyze the sentiment, to score it, if the risk here is high, if, what's the person saying, what's the sentiment around what the person is saying, and all of that. So, of course, my connection already exists, but if yours doesn't, just simply click on this OpenAI links page, and you'll be able to establish your connection. So for my model here, I like to go a little lower for this test purposes. So I'll do this and I'll add a message here, and this one is going to be the developer, and I'm going to save this. So I will say you are analyze this email and then return the JSON only. So I'll say no markdown, just no words, just the JSON. So and then for the user here, I will of course add the email. So I'll do where is the email here. So I'll do text content here, and I don't think I need a subject, right? So I'll save this. Of course, you can also add the subject. It doesn't. I'll save this. One important thing I have to add here is going to be a level. So the number of bundle here must be one, meaning that it must exist. So if the bundle does not exist, that means it will not proceed. So that's what I'm going to say here. So I will say exist. Or alternatively, I can even say, if the number exists, but ideally, I would think that every email is unique. I don't think that two people have this exact same email. So if the email sending the message is one that exists in a database, it's most likely going to be just one, right? Alternatively, there could be another way to do this. You can just turn this to exist here. So if the total number of bundles exist, then you can go ahead. But if it doesn't, you can just it will ignore it. Or alternatively, we can say that it equals here. In this case, we're going to do numeric operator. So in this case, we're going to do equal to 1. So that means that the total number of bundles here, because every time it returns, it counts it as 1. So if it did not return any bundle here, it means it didn't see, the candidate that matches the email that we have, brought up. So that means the candidate is not a placement candidate. So there's no need for it, the candidate to be run through this automation, right? So we save this. This is very important. So the next thing that we are going to do after analyzing the sentiment, so let's check back what we said. We're going to pass a JSON, but for us to be able to pass this JSON, we need to, so let's change this to my own email so that it can find that email address. So we do this, and then we do this. So now it will be able to find that email address and then work with it. So I can now do this. I can now choose the specific date, which is now, and then I save this, and then I run this one time. So you can see it has passed through now because it can see these. If it didn't see that, it wouldn't pass through. So it's currently generating it now. So it has generated this out for me. So this is what I currently have. So I'm now going to use this to pass my JSON and extract it. The reason why I need that JSON is so I can extract it into its individual, components. Like here, I need the overall sentiment. I need the risk score. Is it a high risk? Is it a low risk? And then what is the reason there is that risk and all of that. So that's what I just asked for. You can see it here. That's what was recommended, regulatory action, the main concerns, the retention risk, and all of these, right? So we can now go ahead and pass our JSON now. So we'll do pass JSON. So you see it comes up here, And what I want to do is add my data structure, and here I'm going to call it candidate feedback data structure. So call it candidate feedback data structure. So I will add my item, sorry, I will generate here so that I can just add my sample data and it will automatically generate it for me. You can see it has generated all of these for me. So I can save these, and then my string is going to come from here, and of course I can save these and save these again. So the next thing I want to do is update this feedback here. But of course, if you want to add other things that I'm getting here, like the action for the recruiter and all of that, you can as well add it here. I think I might add it here. So I'm just going to create a role now so that all my replies can go in there. Feedback that we've gotten from candidates will of course go in here. So it's a good data to have. So it's good to just store this. So we are going to create a role. We are going to add a role, sorry. And of course my phone already exists, so I'm going to do candidate placement here, and then the sheet name is going to be candidate feedback here, and then the candidate ID is going to come from here, and you can see why it was important that we have this, and then the candidate name will come from here, the sentiment will come from here, and the risk score will come from here. The retention risk can also be here if you want this data, and then you can put the main consent here and the recommend. If you need this data, if you don't need it, you can just let it be, and then you save this, and of course what value must be present. What have I not added here? So you save these. Now the next thing that you want to do is you need a router to use the different scenarios for these scores. So we need a router here. So the first one that we had here was 0 to 39. So we said mm, low risk. So the condition here is going to be if our JSON here, the risk score here, we're going to do numeric here, and then we would do less than. In this case, we're going to do less than 39 or 40, right? So we save this, and the second one here is going to be medium risk, and then we're going to do risk here, and then we'll do, what do we have here, between 40 and 69. We are saying risk score here is equal to, we'll do less than, we'll do greater than or equal to. In this case, we are going to say 40. And then the next thing we are going to do is we add an and or rule, and then we have that the risk score here, and we have the operators here, and we say it's less than or equal to, in this case, 69. So we save that. Let's just use less than and equal to here. So let's do less than and equal to, and we'll do 39 here, and we save this, and we come here, and then the third one was from 70. So we'll do the high risk here, and we will do the score here, and then we'll do numeric operator as usual, and then we'll do greater than or equal to 70. So we'll save these, and of course always remember to save your setup. So like we did say, for the first one, we are just going to generate a follow-up for them because it's really not a high risk situation that we really need to run and go and test them. So we are going to get our OpenAI module here to generate the response. To want to generate a completion here. So generate a completion here. We're going to choose a model here, and we're going to use a smaller, lower module. And the first one is going to be our developer message, and it did have something to start it off with. So I'll say based on the You are a retention, specialist. As always, you are a candidate retention specialist. Of course, for yours, make sure that the prompt is better. So you can say based on the issues raised by the client or raised by the candidate. We say write a response that shows empathy, keeps them encouraged, and does not make promises. And I guess that's all we have to say. Then we can say return the output in an HTML format, because you're going to be sending it as an email. HTML format that better, so it is better formatted in the it is better formatted in the recipient inbox. Return only the HTML, no markdowns, no what. So now I can talk about the issues here. So I'm going to be stating the issues here which come from, the main concerns here. So we can put the main consent here. We can also put, overall sentiment, anything that works for us here basically. So you can also put the recommended recruiter action here. Then we can do this, um, whatever works for us here. Then we can save this and we can save this, right? I don't know why this thing keeps doing this. Everything has been satisfied, but it just keeps being funny. So now that we have that, we're going to go in and of course again draft the message. So we want to create a draft here. And then we are going to choose our draft inbox and our draft as well. And then we're going to send it to the candidate. And the candidate email, of course, will come from here. And the subject should be maybe thanks for your feedback. And then the content, of course, will come from here. And we do this and we save this and we save this. And we'll also go in and, yeah, I'm using the right connection. And we'll go in and notify the recruiter in Slack to go in and review that message and send. So of course we can drop this on the general group or we can send it directly to a recruiter, anyone that works. Let's just say we send it to the direct group. So this is the group that we are sending it to. And then in here we'll do review the feedback draft for, then we put the name here, and then we put the name here, and then we can also add the recruiter in charge. We can add these, and then any other thing we want to add, say maybe like we want to add your sentiments, we want to add your scores, whatever we want to add here also works. So we can do overall sentiment here. We can as well just maybe add the email, just so the recruiter can easily identify the candidates that we are speaking about. And then we save this. And of course, always remember to save this. I don't know why this thing keeps being stupid. Because the channel of this. So the next thing that we are going to do here, we'll go back to our setup. What we did say for was to send a Slack message and generate a follow-up. So we are going to switch it up, send a Slack message to notify people that, to notify the recruiter that there is like this high candidates that we are going to that we need to check in with, and then we can also tell the candidates that, oh, James will get in touch with you shortly, because I mean, in this case we need James to, in the priority level this is like 2, but we also still need James to check in with these candidates. So what we are going to do is notify the team on Slack. So we'll do this, or we'll send a direct message to. For this, I just say let's drop it on the group so that everybody can see, and people can, so that just in case. What am I saying? Okay, so oh, I'm sending a follow-up message. Nope, that's not what I'm trying to send. I'm trying to send a message. So what I'm trying to do here is just send a message. So we'll delete this and then this. So we'll manually select from the list the channel name, and then we'll pick our channel here, and then the text can be, oh, there is, we can have something like this, and we can say, we can do this, and then the candidate's name here can be, come from here, and then the client can come from here, and then the role can come from here, and then the issues and the concerns that they have can come from here, and then the action, of course, is call when you have the time, call when you are free, or reach out when you're free. And we can also add the recruiter that is in charge here. So let's add the recruiter that is in charge here. We do recruiter in charge, and then we can do what's the recruiter's name here. We do this. So now you can see this is what our message can look like, but of course you can do better here. Let's add the risks here. The risk will come from here. So we have this now, and we can save these, and we'll just go ahead and send them a short message to tell them that, oh, James is going to get in touch soon. So this particular one, we can just send it directly, because we're just trying to hold them down to tell them that, oh, James is going to get in touch with you as soon as possible. So we can do this, and we can do what's the email here, and then of course we are going to be like, trying to affect back James will reach out shortly. We can add the name here, and we can say, I'll reach out shortly. Whatever works, craft the message in a way that looks nice and okay to your candidate. You can be like, hi, and the name here. You can be like, hi, I'll be in touch with you shortly to further discuss this. So um, we can do this. I will be in touch shortly, so we can further discuss this. So this way we are able to, let them know that we'll get back to them on this particular one. This is not really an emergency, so that we can focus on the ones that are emergencies, if you understand me. So we are going to have the last one, which of course was the red alert, and we are not going to be the Slack. And then this one, you're going to be notifying everybody, maybe even creating a task for, on our, project manager. So we are going to send that message here. And of course, we're going to enter from the list. And we're going to do this recruiter's channel here. And the message will look like this. And of course, in this case, we're going to have the candidates come from here. The client come from here. The role come from here. The risk come from here. The issues come from here. And then of course the action is to call immediately. So we save this and we save this. We can even decide to take this one a step further by creating a task for the you know for the team. So we can use ClickUp for this, depending on what you currently use. You can do create a task here, and my own connection already exists, but if yours doesn't, just click on add. And if you're signed into your ClickUp on the browser, you'll be able to sign that up and link that up. So my space here is setting space. So the folder here is this one. I don't have a list as well. So the task name will be call, and then we put the person's name here immediately. So of course we can assign to members of the team, whoever is supposed to be in charge of that, and then the content here is going to be, the message here going to be Sarah has a problem, or whoever. We're going to put candidate's name here has a problem. So we can just, put as much details as we want to put here, although, this can already be seen in our, what's it called, in the database, but let's still just give it sentiment. So we'll do this and then we'll say risk, then we do this. So of course, any other data we want to do there, we want to assign it to someone, we want it open so that the person in charge, and of course we always have to add the recruiter in charge here. And then we are going to do the recruiter in charge is James. So we build that up in our system. James should be able to see that and get done with it immediately. So the start date is actually when the system is running, because we need him or her to get on to talking to the candidate as soon as possible. So that is the start time. And of course the priority here is urgent. So the status here is we can tell it to do for the for gems, and then we save this. And now we are done building for what we have. This is what it would typically look like. So let's just save this and let's just auto align this. So you can see how it looks right now. So we will just go in and test this with the already existing data that we have and see how it will behave. So, oh, I used the wrong connection here. I need to switch up to my connection. So I have this and I save this and I save this. So I'm going to run with existing data. So I run this with existing data, and you see it goes in to generate the responses. For me, it has done this and it has gone ahead to create this because the score here was high. So if you come here, you can see here the score was so high because I said I hated the job, I want to leave. So that's why we are saying that we want to immediately schedule a one-on-one with the candidates. If we go to our Slack now, we can immediately see this, which is good. If you go to our ClickUp, we are also going to see our tags created for gems. So now that means that this system is working perfectly, and this system is going to handle all the replies and concerns that we get from our candidates so that we don't just leave them there hanging. Of course, some of these parts can be switched for how you're currently doing it in your business. So you just have to think about it from a standpoint of how am I currently doing it now, and how do I replicate how I'm doing it now on a system. That's where building out the semantics comes in. So you build out the part in your whiteboard, and then you start to go in and build the setup in your automation tool at recommendmake.com. So yeah, I hope you found this useful. If you have any questions, you can drop it in the comments. If you have a friend or a family member that runs a recruitment agency, you might want to share this video with them, because I promise you they are going to love this. And if you run a recruitment agency and you would want to cut down on the operational work that is currently going on in your agency, then you might want to book a strategy call with me. The link is going to be in the description. And with that being said, that's a wrap from me. So I will see you in my next one. Mwah.